Hello, and welcome to another episode of Annie Casts. I'm Annie, aka Android, and this game was submitted to us today by Kutas Kappas on the Dota 2 Cast It subreddit, and it was marked as a game that's going to be really exciting, a lot of rat Dota going on, so I'm excited to see which of the rat lords I'll be picking up today, maybe a Broodmother, maybe a Nature's Prophet. I haven't really looked too much into this game, I don't really want to see the results, I'm just excited to see a really cool game, and hopefully I can cast it to the best of my ability. Alright, picks coming out really quickly, as it is going to be a really aggressive looking Radiant lineup. It looks like they're going to be trying to get as much down as they can before the Dire team get a little crazy. So on the Pugna we're going to have Elias, on the Sand King, Surrealistic Pillow. Nazgaroth is going to be on the Wraith King. Pike Kubik on the Juggernaut right there, and oh boy, Klepi Jajami O Kozlo on the Warlock. Up on the Dire side, no one's quite loaded in yet. Looks like they're taking their time with the picks. Oh, that does look like Techies has TP'd down and he's going to start setting up his mines in the Radiant jungle, so that'll help him out a lot. Already popping a Clarity to make sure his mana stays up. So it looks like it's going to be Turbot Tare on the Techies. Down mid, it's going to be Dragonfly on the Skywrath Mage. Pride is going to be on the Nature's Prophet. There's our Rat Lord that I was waiting for. Ducks Don't Die on the Undying. Really cool courier over there. And so far, Sniper and... Sniper has not been loaded in yet, so I'll wait for him to introduce him. Up top there is going to be some early rune contest, as the Skywrath Mage is going to meet up with the Pugna in this top rune spot. And it looks like Skywrath Mage is popping out some Qs just to keep him down. Netherward is put down to punish Skywrath Mage as much as he can with that early spell cast, because Skywrath Mage is really spell dependent. He's getting low really fast. Fly away, little bird. He's going to take a stun right to the face, and Nazgaroth is going to try to hit him down as much as he can. Will Skywrath Mage get away with this? It looks like he will, as Wraith King's going to get blocked in by some creeps and doesn't want to commit too deeply under tower. Krycho is the sniper that took his time loading in. It looks like he's going to be going on the off lane for the Dire team, as he is going to have a Techies popping some mines around the map, and he will be trying to do most of the farming. He does pick up an early Wraith Band, so making sure he gets those early stat boosts. On the Radiant carry in their safe lane is going to be the Juggernaut, pretty obviously. He does level his Blade Fury first, so maybe thinking of some possible initiates that he needs to get out of, but he's not really going up against a lot of magic damage or magic lockdown. He can't really Blade Fury his way out of a Techie's bomb, so I'm not quite sure what that was, and it might have just been a default level. You know, he gets in the game and hits that Q button to make sure he has that leveled. And it looks like Warlock is going to be scaling his W, his Shadow Word, so that's going to be really helpful for some heal in case Techie's bombs go off a little too close to home, or if they want to just put some harass on the enemy heroes. I love that spell because it's for enemies and friends as well. Our middle matchup is going to be a Pugna against a Skywrath Mage, so two heroes that can be played and are usually played as supports are going to be taking the mid, and it's going to be a really interesting lineup. I love Skywrath mid. I think he's unbelievably strong in the early game, but I think Dire might have difficulty having him not fall off after the 20 or 30 minute mark, because playing against heroes such as Juggernaut, Wraith King, Sand King, they're all really good with items, whereas Skywrath Mage kind of stops being useful once people tank up a good amount. Up top there's going to be a Sand King solo laning, so interestingly enough he's not going to be in the jungle, he's going to have lane farm all to himself, and he is up against a solo Undying. So it looks like Dire aren't deciding to dual lane or tri-lane their safe lane, they're just going to pop their Undying in there and hope for the best. So it's a 1v1 matchup of these gross looking brown dudes. And in the jungle is Nature's Prophet, our noted rat lord of the game. He does first scale his, first scales his Nature's Call and then his teleportation, so he's looking for some early roam around the map if he needs it. He is running a little short on mana after he does pop that Nature's Call to get his cute little pumpkin treants out. Those are adorable. Down bottom, Warlock is taking some hits from the Sniper, who does have his Shrapnel leveled. He's going to be right-clicking just a little bit, but the Juggernaut's farming up pretty well. It does already have 4 last hits and 1 deny. Sniper might be having a little bit of a problem. He does have 5 last hits, but he's also one of the longest ranged heroes in the game, and should be having a little bit of an easier time, as Juggernaut isn't really doing a whole lot to try to be aggressive and zone him out, and Warlock's only hitting for 61 damage, so not much to be super afraid of in that bottom lane. Skywrath Mage is going to drink up his bottle that he grabs, and does put a haste rune in it, so he's going to be able to be one speedy little bird whenever he wants to be. Pugna's going to clear out some creeps with that Nether Blast, and just try to get their farm up. Looks like 6 and 2 already, which is not a bad start at all for this mid lane. In terms of last hits and denies, Sand King's actually at our top with 9 last hits. He's been having a pretty easy lane right here, as Undying, can't really do a whole lot. He can kind of decay the ground to keep him back, but Sand King's a pretty tanky bug when it starts out, 549 HP, and Undying can't really do a lot of damage to him or sustain against him. Looks like Sniper's just going to be kind of AFK farming. Techies is putting clusters of mines right in this little tree passage right there, which is pretty unusual for Techies mines as far as that goes. I haven't really seen a lot of people pathing through that place, and also your standard stairways and side of the river runes, which are going to be most likely very useful, as well as this one little one in the secret shop, or sorry, side shop. I don't know how much damage that'll be able to do. I don't think it could secure a kill, but you never know if someone's trying to run in and get a TP on their way home. Techies is going to be popping a Clarity and probably camping out this double damage rune before one of his own comes to help, and it looks like Skywrath Mage is going to get pinged out by the Pugna as he is popping a haste rune and running up top. Undying's having a little bit of trouble as he's going to be trying to deal with this Sand King in his Sandstorm, but it looks like Skywrath Mage knows exactly where he is. He's right at the center of that Sandstorm. Skywrath Mage taking a little bit of unnecessary damage, doesn't have the AoE damage he needs. His ult is not learned yet. He's level 5 and 2/3, I'd say. He is getting kind of low to that Burrow Strike right there. Concussive Shot being popped as well as an Ancient Seal. Is he going to take a lot of damage from that? He will get very low, but no real lockdown on that. He is free to go back to base. Skywrath Mage is going to bottle up, probably take a little bit of farm and head back to mid. Down bottom there's a double damage Techies, which somehow doesn't feel like the most ominous threat in the world. Fatal Bonds being cast on the dire creeps, just making sure that the Sniper's going to take a little bit more harass than he otherwise would. He does pick up a Band of Elfskin, so that's going to help him out a little bit with his agility stats. In the jungle down bottom, Noscaroth is doing a pretty good job farming. He does have boots in the bank. Only 13 last hits though. It seems like he could be getting that speed a little bit more up. If he is jungling, I would suggest maybe not leveling his stun until level 4 or 5, just because the crits and the lifesteal are so valuable early on in the jungle, and the stun uses so much mana that it's really not viable as a stun that you can use every 10 seconds to keep those creeps at bay. This could be Warlock auto-clicking the creeps right there, so might be making the Juggernaut's life a little bit difficult, but it is pushing the wave up a little bit. Sentry Ward being popped down from the Warlock, really good game instinct there, as he is going to scout out a bunch of these Techies mines and keep them away from his Juggernaut lane buddy. Juggernaut doing very well, already has his phase boots, although it is Sniper that's our last hit leader at the current moment, who does have a Morbid Mask in his bank and is going to be flying out on the courier to him. Skywrath Mage roaming into the jungle just a little bit. He does activate the bounty rune that was sitting in his bottle. Up top, Sand King has been causing a lot of trouble. Techies now coming in, gonna mine this place up a little bit, and it looks like Sand King is gonna Burrow Strike through the Techies, and isn't really gonna take a lot of damage through that. Techies does now have his Soul Ring recipe. He's pretty poor, honestly. He could just go in and buy his Soul Ring right now. I'm not quite sure why he's not doing that, just duck into the side shop and buy that for himself. Oh, there it is. And looks like Undying is gonna be pretty item starved at this point. He has a Basilius and some boots, but not a whole lot else. I would expect him to have maybe tier 2 boots or start working on his first item by 7 minutes in the game. Nature's Prophet just taking over the last hit lead, as he does have 26 last hits. He's been having a pretty easy time jungling with these cute little pumpkins eating up the creeps for him. He does have a completed Basilius and some Gloves of Haste, so it looks like he might be going for treads, I'm assuming. Down bottom, Juggernaut and Warlock are having a pretty good time. Good lane buddies for each other. Warlock's been doing a good job Fatal Bondsing the creeps as it is level 2, and Juggernaut's just been cleaning up the mess. So overall, not a lot of action so far. About 8 minutes in, and no first blood, no real kill attempts, no huge ganks aside from the Skywrath roams to the top lane. But it looks like it could be a really interesting game. I would suggest that the Dire might want to get it a little bit together and put together some ganks or team fights before, the 15-20 minute mark, while Skywrath is still really strong and able to do a lot of burst, because once the Radiant team starts building up their armor and their HP pools, he's not able to be as useful to his team. That Mystic Flare is great, but if they have a bazillion armor, it's not going to do a whole lot. Skywrath Mage is going to bottle up a double damage rune, which might help him following my advice and going in for a kill here on this Pugna. He could dive a little bit. He does have 720 HP, so it's not anything to laugh at. Down bottom, Juggernaut's going to continue farming up. I'm not quite sure what his first item is going to be. He might go the typical Pub Jug Battle Fury build, or he might go something a little more creative. I'm not quite sure. Sniper's going to be taking a lot of damage from those Fatal Bonds. Warlock going up really, really far trying to commit to this. I'm not quite sure what that guy's doing. Oh boy, up top I do miss it, just by a little bit. It looks like Undying does kill off the Sand King, probably using his Tombstone, which was up just a little bit in this lane. Apologies for missing that. But it looks like this game is going to have some more interesting kills going on, as Skywrath is going to be trying to initiate on the Wraith King. Wraith King does not have his ult up, so he could be an easy kill for the Skywrath Mage, who does have his ult up. And it looks like Skywrath Mage will get the kill. Juggernaut trying to come in. He does Blade Fury himself up, so he's not going to be taking any magic damage from that Skywrath, doing a good job chunking down that bird. A couple right clicks might be the end of him. Ult coming off from the Skywrath Mage, and Juggernaut will get away with just a sliver of life, sitting about 60 HP at the end of that engagement. He does now have his Morbid Mask, so I'd suggest that little guy runs back to base and thanks whatever stars he prayed to. Sand King trying to reinitiate on this Techies, who is going to be trying to bait him into some mines, but Sand King will think better of following him deep into that jungle. He only has a magic wand and some boots, so a little bit poor for the Sand King right there. He was drawn first blood on, so he's not sitting at as much of a gold advantage as he'd like to be, but he is going to purchase some arcane boots now, and that'll help him out a lot with his mana sustain if he needs it. Up top, Techies has been doing a really good job plopping down these mines. Hasn't gotten any kills off him yet, but definitely possible. He does only put one in the side shop, which is a little bit interesting. I've usually seen Techies pile them up good, so they're able to kill down a full health hero, but he might be counting on that one hero thinking they got away from a fight, running into the shop to buy a TP, and pop, they're dead, which I've played against, and boy, that's a frustrating feeling. Skywrath Mage does now have arcanes in the mid lane, which is pretty interesting. I would say treads are a little bit more sustainable on a Skywrath Mage, as, yeah, he does need the mana sustain, especially with no Crystal Maiden or Global Aura or anything like that, but I feel like Intelligence Treads just offer him so much more going into the middle and late game, as opposed to just that base mana pool sustain. Techies is going to be mining up this area right here, which I'm not quite sure the Dire are in a position to push that yet, but, the Radiant are in a position to go up on that ledge yet and take Ancients, but never a bad thing to have extra mines up. It looks like a regen rune is going to be underneath those big blob of mines. Pugna's trying to go in on the Skywrath Mage. He will be able to bottle himself up. Is he going to try to bait Pugna to the mines? No, there is a sentry ward down, so they see him. It looks like a life drain might be trying to finish off the Skywrath Mage, but Pugna doesn't have quite enough range to get it done. He will heal himself up to full health, though. Skywrath Mage trying to figure out what he can do. He's going to be popping some shots onto this guy. Ancient sealing him up, concussive shot slowing him down, but he is still sitting at enough health to keep himself stable and finish off taking those mines. Interesting enough, the Nether Ward does a good amount of damage onto that Skywrath Mage, as he does go down to about half several times just by spamming his spells. Sniper will go down to Fatal Bonds down bottom, as the Warlock's been doing a really great job keeping those on the creep wave and making sure the Sniper does not have an easy time absolutely free farming the lane. Down bottom, Undying's going in so damn deep for this Sand King. I don't know what the Sand King did to piss him off, but it looks like he is walking all the way past the tier 2, almost to the low ground. Techies is putting a big blob of mines up there, looking to maybe initiate a fight somewhere off the middle lane and put those to good use. In the jungle, Wraith King's just going to keep taking up these camps. He does now have completed treads, and it looks like he almost has, after this camp, he'll have about 900 gold in the bank, so he's able to think about his first real big item, which could be Armlet, could be Basher, could be really whatever he wants at this point, depending on how he wants the game to go. And Undying's just having a really cheeky lane right here. He is 1-1, so he does have a kill on himself, but he also did draw first blood, which is a lot of gold and just something really exciting for him, and it's made his lane a little bit easier. Pugna is going to be going deep on this Techies. Techies does have Suicide leveled, and he is going to use it, as he does pop this Pugna like a little balloon. So I think really smart play from the Techies, knowing he's not going to get out of that one alive. May as well take Pugna down with him. Juggernaut has a completed Morbid Mask now, and looks like they might be trying to push tower right here. Nope, Juggernaut's going to be backing off a little bit. He does now have a Band of Elfskin in his inventory, so he looks like he's going to be waiting for Warlock to get whatever on his courier, and then take that for himself. Warlock is going to be grabbing 2 mangoes and finishing up his Null Talisman. So, lots of mana sustain there, and a little bit of HP regeneration while he's not using it. And it looks like Sniper with an uncompleted Morbid Mask of Madness, but a completed Ring of Aquila is going to be hitting him up. Wraith King walking into that Skywrath ult and taking it right to the face. He does have his level 6 up and enough of a mana pool to come back to life, so nothing really going to come out of that engagement, but Wraith King's ult is now down for the next minute and a half or so. Sand King trying to see what's up at this rune spot. They do have radiant vision of it, so they're going to know that there's no Techie's mines on that spot at this time. Undying's just pretty much been left to free farm. He is going to get roamed in by the Sand King at this point. And there is a Pugna trying to do what he can. He does decrepify him, and it looks like Sand King's going to be channeling his ult for this. Does Burrow Strike and get a really, really nice ult off, and in combination with the Pugna life drain, that's going to melt that Undying down. There was nothing he could have done there. So really nice job and really nice communication from the Radiant heroes, making sure that hero stays dead. Nature's Prophet now going to send his treants into the middle lane. Looks like they might want to take a tower and push, as they are slightly behind in towers at this... Or sorry, they're not even behind in towers at this point. They just want to keep their advantage going while they still have their Skywrath mage online, which I think is an important part of this game, because Skywrath really does fall off. He can't really scale hard into the late game. You have a 60-minute game, you're not going to be looking to your Skywrath mage for damage. Nature's Prophet does have a Midas. I'm not quite sure how long he's had that, but that's definitely helping out with farm. And looks like the sniper is standing really, really close to these remote mines that could go off any second. It looks like maybe there might be some communication trying to take the sniper a little lower before Techies pops those mines. Oh, sorry, I'm confused right now. Techie's in the same team as Sniper. Don't listen to anything I say. Apologize. Okay. Sand King is going to be roaming in mid lane. He's been doing a really good job roaming, getting those rotations that he needs to. And same with Juggernaut. When he's not getting the farm he needs in lane, he's going right to the jungle. And when he's not getting the farm he needs in the jungle, he's heading right back into lane. So he's just really maximizing his time spent. He's never really not been farming. He's always trying to make something of his time and trying to get something for his effort. He's going to get taken down a little bit low by those Techies mines. Didn't walk directly through them, but just close enough to set a couple of them off. He's going to be healed right up by the Warlock, and Mana Boots will be coming up in about 10 seconds. So no real loss there. He's going to be back up to full health. And Techies just didn't have quite enough mines or quite the right placement to get him down. Nature's Prophet is going to be ratting pretty hard as he is sending his cute little pumpkin treants into this tier 2. Pugna using his Nether Blast to try to keep him up, or keep them back, sorry. But they're just going to walk back towards the secret shop. Down middle, Skywrath's going to pop in Illusion Rune that was sitting in his bottle, and looks like Dire are going to be trying to push this tier 1 tower. Nature's Call coming out, a little more pumpkins going on. Techies does end up grabbing a kill down bottom. I didn't quite see what went on there, but I'm guessing his mines got put to good use right there. Warlock having some good humor about it, popping a little XD in all chat, and it looks like, yep, right there was the spot that was circled and mined up very heavily. So good job on Techies, making sure to activate those when the time was right. So it looks like some pressure from the Dire team mid. They are going to be dragging in their Sand King, trying to see what they can do. Sand King ult is going to be channeling right now, and it looks like, wow, what a chaotic fight. Looks like Sand King ult's going to be doing a lot of work. Skywrath Mage pops his ult as well, and it looks like Sand King's going to be trying to get out alive, but will end up going down to the Nature's Prophet. So they do end up taking down the Sand King after a TP. So that's just a big loss for Sand King. Not only does he lose his life, but he loses that 100 TP gold to get in, and he does not have his ult for the next minute or so. And it looks like, are the Dire team going to be feeling comfortable enough to push the tier 2 here? Techie's mines are down, so nothing real, but looks like Juggernaut might be trying to initiate on those Techies, which I think is a bad idea, as Suicide Squad is up, and I think Techies could just blow him up if the time is right. And nope, not quite enough damage. Looks like Juggernaut will get along just fine, pop his healing ward, and be a-okay. Warlock is now left solo in this lane against Nature's Prophet, and the Sniper that's sitting back in the secret shop. What is he going to pick up for himself? He does now have a Blade of Alacrity, so he's going to be going Yasha, if I'm correct. And Nature's Prophet does have a null tally. His treads are now on intelligence, a little bit, sitting about half mana right now. Could switch him back to Agi or Strength if he wants to end up pushing this lane a little bit more. Radiant team are going to be grouping up mid. There are 3 of them here, maybe trying to get this tower down. They do need a tower in their favor, as they currently have none, but in terms of kills, they're leading by a little bit, and I'd say in general they just have a stronger late game potential. I think they could really spiral out of control if they need to. If they get this Juggernaut big enough, if they get that Undying big enough, pick up a Blink on that Sand King, and he can absolutely take a team fight. Warlock is going to be popping his Golems down bottom. Golem is sitting really low, and Sniper might be wanting to pick that off just for the nice bonus gold, and he will get it. Actually, I think Nature's Prophet ended up getting the last kill on that, as he does use his global ulti just to pick off that extra damage. And now Sniper is kind of out of position, as Juggernaut's ready to Omni Slash just on him. Really good Omni Slashes. There was no one else around for him to jump to, so Sniper is going to get chopped up like a fine salad. Undying going to be looking to grab this haste rune right there, or is he going to wait for someone else? He might just be waiting for confirmation that he can take it. Yep, there we go. And he's going to be zipping into the bottom lane, trying to figure out what he can do. He does have all his abilities up, including Tombstone, which can be a really, really great team fight ability. He's going to get Shadow Worded up by the Warlock and just kind of forced out of there. He shouldn't die to that or anything, but he's not going to have an easy time getting away with a lot of health. He does pop Blade Mail against this Wraith King to try to see what damage he can return to him. But everyone will come out alive, and everyone will come out reasonably high health aside from the Undying that should have an easy time going back to base if that's what he decides it's right to do. Fortify going to come out from the Dire team, and it looks like this tower try to mount some sort of defense against it. Oop, my game is stuttering a little bit. Down bottom, it looks like a Sprout's going to be coming out from the Nature's Prophet, but that guy is dead. Juggernaut's able to pick him off in 3 clean last hits. And so Juggernaut's getting as big as he needs to be at this point. In terms of kills, death, assists, he's sitting comfortably at the top of the chart. 4 kills to only 1 death and 1 assist. So he's doing a really good job getting a lot of worth for that. Sand King's going to pick himself up a kill as well. And Juggernaut's just feeling really comfortable where he is. He's gotten the early game farm and the early game safety that he needs to really spiral out of control if he's continued to be fed these kills. Wraith King as well, going to be coming online pretty shortly here, as he will pick up his first item relatively soon. His Midas is online, so he's going to be using that to get some more golden experience for himself. Wraith King just hits harder the longer the game goes on, so if the Dire's interested in winning this, they really got to start getting it together and pushing down towers and getting ready to mount some sort of high ground. It's almost 20 minutes in the game, and tier 2s haven't really been touched aside from the top. And I think, ult's coming out from the Sand King onto this Undying, and it looks like they won't have quite enough damage to finish him off from that alone. But Sand King will do what he can to get the Undying down, but will pay with his life as the sniper's able to ult him pretty easily. And it looks like Nature's Prophet's going to be TPing into there, and he's going to be using Nature's Call to pick up some more treants, slowing down this Wraith King as much as he can. Sprout coming out to keep him in place, and really good communication with the Skywrath Mage to get him down. And looks like Sniper's going to be trying to slow him down with Shrapnel as much as he can. Headshot coming out to keep him locked in place just a little bit. And it looks like Skywrath Mage will pick up that second kill on the Wraith King that's going to keep him dead for real this time. So right now, Juggernaut and Warlock are figuring out how to balance this Dire team push. They're still very much alive, and it looks like they will be trying to get down this tier 1 tower, which I think is very valuable, considering they need to get a lot done before the game reaches that, mid-late game stage. It looks like Techies is going to be chasing down this Juggernaut, who is going to be Blade Furying in. He's going to pick himself up a Staff of Wizardry on the Courier, so if that's the beginning of an Ags, I'm not too sure, but it would be a great item for him, as his Omni Slash has, well, the one I've caught anyway, has been really, really useful for the team. Up top, Pugn's going to be trying to hold his own against this Nature's Prophet that's been doing a really great job getting the farm he needs, sitting at over 100 last hits at only about 20 minutes in the game, so really, really good job by him getting that farm, sitting in the jungle, doing what he needs to do and doing those rotations to make sure he gets the farm. But then again, he can't do a whole lot if his team is dying. With the Techies and the Skywrath Mage and the Sniper, those are all pretty glass cannon people. Sometimes they can put out a lot of damage, but they're not sitting at a huge HP pool. They can't tank a lot, so they gotta make sure that they control the fights. If the Radiant are the ones to initiate the fights, those 3 heroes in the Dire are just gonna be melted. Pugna is going to be picking up a Gem of True Sight, which I think is going to be really, really helpful for those Techies' minds, as he is putting them in pretty key locations around the map. Right now he does have a whole bunch sitting on this initiation right there, and it looks like Wraith King's going to be trying to stun up this Undying. Blade Mail being popped to try to keep himself as alive and do as much damage as possible. Tombstone slowing down the Wraith King a little bit, but will he be able to catch up? A couple good crits from this Wraith King will finish him off, but it looks like Undying will try to decay himself and walk away. And on the back lines, Juggernaut Omni's in and is able to pick off both the Sniper and the Undying. Sniper was pretty much full health there, so really good job by the Juggernaut, picking the really most ideal times to Omni slash in. In terms of net XP, it is heavily in the Radiant's favor at 5,000, which is not like unrecoverable, but it's pretty significant at only 22 minutes in the game. And in terms of net gold, it's actually in the Dire's favor, 2,000 in their favor, and I think that's just due to the 3 towers that are down, whereas the Radiant only have that 1. So overall, like, it's definitely not a done game at this point, but I think the Radiant are just going to have such a snowballing advantage going forward, as the Jug and the Wraith King and even the Sand King are only going to get bigger, whereas the Skywrath Mage might fall off, as well as the Sniper if he can't get the items he needs to get. Although he does pick up a completed Yasha, which is going to help him out a lot with his not only movement speed, but attack speed as well. Wraith King is going to just be hopping in the jungle trying to pick off these cute little ogres. I'm trying to figure out what item he's going, as he doesn't really have a whole lot of progress going for him. I feel like he should, at this point in the game, have an armlet or a basher or beginnings of something that does a lot more damage rather than Hand of Midas. Techies is going to be grabbing another kill on the Wraith King. I saw where he was. He must have walked over that initiation spot right here. But it looks like, I mean, Techies has been doing what he needs to do, but they're not really picking off the key here as they need to. Picking off the Juggernaut, picking off the Sand King, I think, would be more important than that farming Wraith King who can really just respawn and then get back into it. Techies is going to deny this tower, so that's going to help him out a lot, making sure the Radiant don't get that big gold advantage in their favor, as they are going to be picking up a little bit more of an experience lead. Remote Mine's going off just to try to clear up the creep waves. And it looks like all the Dire heroes are clustering in this Dire top jungle, and are they going to be trying to pick off a big initiation here? Omni Slash is up. Juggernaut is going to take a Skywrath Q to the face and walk away fine. It looks like the Radiant are going to decide better of staying in that jungle for the whole game. Down bottom, Nature's Prophet is showing what he can do best and just kind of ratting this empty lane. No one else is here, no one else is taking the XP or the farm, so he figures why not pop in. His teleport's back up whenever he needs it, so he can hop around the map whenever he'd like. He does have a completed Orchid, which is going to be a really, really key pick-off for him, especially if he sees that Juggernaut walking into the fight. He can silence him up before that Omni Slash comes off and maybe keep him locked down and kill him before that becomes a problem. It looks like an Omni Slash will be coming out onto the Skywrath Mage, but a little bit of a miscommunication as Pugna does make him immune from that damage for just a little bit. Blade Fury coming out, protecting himself against Undying. Really nice Warlock ult, locking the Undying in place. They are not going to be able to get him as he does Soul Rip himself to a decent amount of health to walk away. And it looks like the Warlock Golem will proc that mine from Techies. Skywrath Mage does now have a Force Staff for himself, so he has a little bit more mobility, but like I said, just not a huge item, not anything that's really, really going to affect his damage output and his ability output in the game. It looks like Ancient Seal will come out for the Juggernaut, so that means he's going to be taking a little bit more damage from that, and he is going to be going down to the Sniper hit, so really good communication on that. Skywrath saying, hey, this guy's low, finish him off, and Sniper getting right on that. So that's a really key pick-off for the Dire team. Juggernaut was sitting on a lot of their kills, he has 6 of their kills, and just a lot of their farm and a lot of their worth in terms of net worth. He's number 2, number 1 for the Radiant team. Nature's Prophet actually sitting at the number 1 slot, so he's definitely proving his worth here in the jungle. He may not be helping out in the team fights as much as he could be, but he's doing exactly what he needs to do in the jungle and getting himself the farm that he needs to rat this game to hell later on. In terms of XP, that Juggernaut kill does set them down a good amount. They are now back to probably about 4 point something K in terms of the Radiant experience. Up top, Warlock's going to be going solo, probably going back to, I'm not quite sure where he's going. He's full health and mana, doesn't really need to be going back to base. He doesn't have a point booster, so it looks like he's going early Ags, which is such a smart build, as his golems have been really on point, and if you can have 2 of them, that's just double the amount of impact they can have in a team fight. In terms of golds, it's been a pretty big zigzag, but still in the Dire's favor, as they are able to pick off that Juggernaut, which was really, really key for them, as he was sitting on a lot of their golds. Up top, Juggernaut right back at it, continuing his farm. Completed Aghanim Scepter on that guy. He's been farming like a maniac. Already another excess 400 gold in the bank. So he's ready to start thinking about item number 2. But that, I don't know if he's going to build a Sanjin Yasha or if he's going to possibly just pick up some other nice, comfy item on that. But that Aghanim Scepter is going to be really, really nice in the next couple of team fights. Warlock's sitting a little bit farther up than I'd like to see him. He is going to cast some pretty aggressive spells on this Undying, and it looks like Sand King's going to be channeling his ult in an easy pick-off onto the Undying. It looks like Wraith King might be walking a little far in here. He does have his Reincarnate if he needs it, and he will. But I'm not sure if the Dire are going to reinitiate on this fight. I think that'd be a bit of a mistake, because they are sitting on some Techies wards, going to be taking down Sand King and Skywrath Mage. And it looks like Juggernaut's going to try to finish off this Sniper, and yep, fight of the big old carries. Juggernaut's going to come out ahead on that one, does pop his healing ward, and they are going to be trying to pick off this Techies as quick as they can. He does commit suicide and takes down Wraith King with him, but Juggernaut will get out fine, and again, Juggernaut's that real key hero. Sprout from Nature's Prophet is off the mark. He's going to get decrepified, and it looks like nothing's going to be able to attack him for the moment. But after that, he's going to get sprouted in there with the Juggernaut, and that's not a place you want to be if you're the Dire. Complete wipe on the Dire team, and it looks like the Radiant should feel comfortable pushing this tier 2 if that's where they're aiming for right now. Unclaimed double damage rune on the bottom. It is under a little bit of Techie's wardage, but nothing they shouldn't be able to overcome. Juggernaut's getting a little bit tankier at this point. Definitely able to withstand some of those blasts. Another blast from the Pugna going to be helping clear out the creeps and the tower. So good on him. Pugna is going to be picking up what looks like an Ags, and that's going to help him out a lot with his life drain. Just make it that much more yucky and help him out to do as much damage as he can in a short amount of time. And Warlock, yes, definitely going for that Ags as he does pick up the Ogre Club and the Staff of Wizardry. It's a really good pick for him, and that's, like I said, just going to really help out the fights. And it looks like the Radiant team they have it together. I'm really not seeing a situation where they can completely throw it unless they let their Juggernaut get picked off a whole lot right before team fights, but in terms of everyone building the items they need to get, it's going really well for them. The Tire team, they have a really pick-off-oriented lineup, especially with the Techies and the Skywrath Mage, which is almost all point-and-click damage. The Sniper can be really big and do a lot of damage from the back lines, but in order to be on the back lines, he needs someone to stand in front of him and tank the damage, and Dire really don't have that. They don't have that big beefy tank like I'd like to see them with a Wraith King or an Ursa or something in that nature. Just someone that can really take the fight and stand in there and not be afraid of getting killed in 4 hits like the Skywrath Mage or the Sniper. Looks like Skywrath Mage just try to clear out this Pugna ward right there. Radiant bottom tower is going to go down to this rat. He's getting pinged out. Juggernaut trying to see what he can do. Omnislash might not be the wisest decision as he is in a bunch of creeps, but it looks like he will pop it anyway. And Juggernaut getting the kill as well. That Aghanim Slash is going to be doing a lot of damage, and with as many jumps as he had, he's able to dive through all the creeps and get back to Nature's Prophet in the end and picking him off, which is really, really key, because that now puts him ahead in terms of net worth. Nature's Prophet no longer sitting way, way up at the top. Juggernaut does have a pretty sizable lead, sitting about 12,000 net worth, which is big for him at only 30 minutes in the game. He's doing a really, really great job of being where he needs to be in this fight. He does now have a Basher, which is going to make him that much uglier in a fight up against the Dire heroes. It looks like Skywrath Mage is going to be going down to a Sand King. I didn't catch the whole initiation, but it might be that time in the game where Skywrath Mage just really isn't a viable fighter. He really can't be out on his own without a whole bunch of vision. And it looks like Techies is mining the living crap out of this Roche pit. He wants to prevent any Roche attempt from the Radiant. Juggernaut with an Aegis would be deplorable to fight against, and it looks like Pugna might be wandering into here, although he does have that Gem of True Sight. I think he's going to go in and just scream his head off if he goes into that Roche pit. My goodness. Is he going to be trying to initiate right there? It does get pinged out a little bit. I'm not quite sure if that was the Sniper pinging it out or the Sand King. It was one of those kind of orange circles, so you can never really tell. Up top, it looks like Sniper's going to be rotating into the top lane, trying to see if he can stop the Radiant push that's happening there, and it looks like Nature's Prophet just TPing in top. Looks like Radiant heroes are gathering up around the Roche pit. I'm just so afraid to watch that first person that puts their foot in the pit before Pugna has vision of it, because I'm not quite sure if a gem can scout out those bombs before he goes into the pit, but I'm not quite sure if he has to cross into the lip. Really good job using the courier to scout. Wow, great tactic from the Pugna, as he's able to see those wards and ping him out. And it looks like double golems coming out. Juggernaut going to be omni-slashing again. Does get down this Undying. And it looks like Techie's doing what he can to pop the Sand King, but he is going to come out just fine, just alive on that. So Dire is struggling a little bit. Pugna does get picked off on the back of it by the Skywrath Mage. So Skywrath Mage not 100% out of this fight yet, but they do lose their Undying, which was a big source of their damage and their team fight. Techies is going to be popping some remote mines just to keep himself there, but Basher from the Jug, really, really lucky. He does commit suicide, but barely touches the Juggernaut. He's going to be A-okay. If he wants to pop a healing ward, he can, but if not, he'll be just fine to go heal in the jungle. Warlock going to be taking a hit from the Sniper, but really good job casting the Shadow Word on himself before it goes off, probably sensing that he was under a little bit of danger, and it looks like Warlock's going to be trying to do what he can to help out this Sand King onto the Sniper, but it's just going to kind of be a stalemate. You know, you hit me once, I'll hit you once, and we both walk away and go back to our bases. Sniper now does have a completed Maelstrom as well as a Helm of the Dominator, so good farming items for him. He's going to be taking these Ancients right here, but my goodness, he just seems so much less impactful than the Juggernaut at this point in the game. If he's the big Dire carry, I don't know if he can compete late game with the big Radiant carry. As I do say that, though, Pride on the Nature's Prophet's doing a really, really great job routing this out. He also has a completed Maelstrom. I haven't seen his Orchid put into a lot of use, but he also hasn't been in a lot of team fights, but he's just really keeping the Radiant on their toes, knowing that they can't fully commit to a lane and push all the way up to the Dire high ground, because he'll probably be on the back lines, making sure the Radiant feel the pressure. Like we saw earlier in that last fight, completed Ags on the Warlock, so he does have that double Golem, which is going to just do... My goodness, it's going to be so helpful, especially with a double Golem stun and an Aghanim's ult from the Juggernaut. You're dishing out a ton of damage, a ton of lockdown. Boy, I don't want to be the Dire hero against this lineup. Skywrath Mage does have a haste. He's going to be trying to run into the Radiant heroes up top, but he is 2 against 1. He does get pinged out by the Sand King, so he is going to be flying back into the secret shop, and it looks like he will be fluttering away just fine. No huge item progression on that. It looks like he might be trying to go Yules, as he does have a Sage's Mask as well as a Staff of Wizardry, but like I said, that's a nice utility item, but it's not going to help him any with his output, and how's he going to make himself valuable later on in the game, aside from just providing a Force or a Yules every once in a while? Down bottom, Techies does have a nice chunk of mines right there in that little tree bridge, so if the Radiant decide to walk through that way, they are going to sorely regret it. He is making the most of his Soul Ring, picking up an Ags relatively soon, only about 400 gold until he's able to pick up that completed Ags, making his remote mines that much more scarier, the range being a little bit bigger, so maybe some cheeky play on the high ground with Pugna's gem would be in order. And looks like Undying's going to be circling 2 Radiant heroes on the mid lane, trying to figure out if they should initiate there or not. Up top, Prophet once again ratting. Man, that boy has a lot of farm. He's able to start thinking about his next real big item anytime he wants to at this point. He's just sending his Treants right down the top lane and making sure there's a lot of pressure. Sand King left to deal with the mess. It looks like he might just Burrow Strike and Sandstorm them, because they're not doing a whole lot of damage to him, and that's exactly what he'll do. And just keeping them off the tower is the most important thing for him right now, and he's also going to hit up that next wave of creeps with the Sandstorm, so good timing on that. Techies is going to be remining the Roche Pit, as they were all taken out by the Pugna that got vision of it earlier. Sad day for him. He was hoping to get some really nice kills off of that. Warlock just really, really using the Fatal Bonds to the best of his ability, making sure every creep wave that he's farming has it on, and making sure that the carries in the Dire team that are trying to also get farm are taking some harass and just don't have an easy time of it. Juggernaut with a completed Sanchin Yasha, that's what he put his Yasha into earlier, and it looks like he 1,500 gold in the bank, even if he has, he'll have buyback in about 200 more gold, so that's not anything light for him. He can definitely start thinking about his next big item, whether it's going to be Butterfly, Abyssal, anything like that. I don't think there's a bad choice at this point, as long as he keeps staying big. He is still at the top of the net worth chart. In terms of last hits, 256 from Pride on the Nature's Prophet, so definitely doing what a Prophet has to do. Radiant team are bundled up around this Roche Pit, but decide it's maybe not the most opportune time. Juggernaut is going to be TPing top, maybe a run-in with his Nature's Prophet, or just stealing his Treant farm, popping the Mask of Madness just to get that much more attack speed, and boy, that attack speed is scary. Orchid from the Nature's Prophet pops a Sprout on him as well, but it looks like Juggernaut isn't really that scared. He is kind of stuck, and he will go down. Nature's Prophet right-clicks him to death with nothing more than an Orchid and a well-placed Sprout. Juggernaut, as a melee hero, really can't do anything against that, so really, really well played. I wasn't expecting that to go as easily as it did. Warlock is sitting on high ground without much vision on what's going on. He looks like an Undying will be rotating in, but nothing much to do about that. It looks like Nature's Prophet is going to try to go for a double. We'll grab the Pugna on the backside of that, and that's a gem as well. Looks like he won't go in to grab the gem, but, I mean, they lost it. Someone please take this damn gem. And is Sand King going to pick it up on the back lines of this fight? And it looks like he will. So that's pretty easy for him. Cute Courier, though. I haven't seen that one. I really like that one. And it looks like Skywrath ult going to try to take down the Wraith King as best as possible, but like I said earlier, Skywrath popped his full montage. He used every spell he had and still not able to get this Wraith King down once, let alone twice. He really needs, maybe a Scythe of Vice or just something really, really big to keep himself useful in these fights. I'm hesitant to say that the Dire have a really strong chance at taking team fights after 40 minutes in the game. Because, yeah, the Undying Tombstone's going to put in a lot of work, and Sniper can hit pretty hard, but man, they just don't have a lot of lockdown. Nature's Prophet just making this Wraith King and Sand King have a little bit of a harder time clearing out their bottom lane. He's definitely doing what he has to do. And it looks like Dire team are pushing this mid lane. Shrapnel coming out from the Sniper. He is Fatal Bonsed up, as Warlock is going to be keeping this creep wave under a lot of wrap with this really high leveled slow from the Warlock coming out. Omni Slash doing a really good job keeping those Dire Heroes as low as possible with as many jumps as he got. He's only able to pick off the Sniper. And it looks like he is going to be silenced up once again by the Nature's Prophet, and Techies is going to take that kill as he does walk into a crap load of remote mines. Ultimate from the Sand King doing what he can, and they will bring down the Nature's Prophet on the back of that, but they are going to be losing the gem, as well as they're going to be taking down all of the Dire team. So really, they do lose their Juggernaut, which is a huge, huge loss for the Radiant team, but the rest of the Radiant has a lot of room to push right now as they do bring down every single person on the Dire. Team fight went back and forth for a little bit, and looks like Pugna does have the gem now. I'm not sure if that's the original gem, or he bought a new one. I think it's the original. I just kind of lost track of it in that last fight, as Sand King, the last person I saw holding the gem, did die. Looks like Techies is the sole survivor on the Dire team. He does now respawn, pops a stasis trap on the top lane, which is going to help them out a lot when they break high ground. He is going to grab the Wraith King and pop off the remote mines on him, which is going to do a lot of damage. Wraith King does have a heart, though, so after that short cooldown, he's going to be zipping back up to full health. Man, that 99.7 heal rate is insane. It takes him, what, like 4 seconds to get back to full health? Techies he's doing everything he can, man. This guy's been all over the map trying to do whatever he needs to do to keep the lane safe, but it just feels like he doesn't have... I don't know. I think Techies was a good pick. His team just didn't really draft around it as well as they could have. They just don't have that tanky core. Undying's not building very tanky. He does have a Blade Mail, which is going to do a little bit more damage than he would otherwise, but man, I think they're really wanting damage at this point in the game. They only really have their Sniper to be their right clicker, and he does have a Manta rather than, you know, a Desolator or something that's going to help his right clicks directly. Are the Dire going to be gearing up for a Roche here? They do have a Skywrath and an Undying really there, so they are checking the Roche. Aren't going to find anyone in it, are going to find it up, but do they feel safe going in? I think that's a big questionable play. There is no Radiant Vision of the pit itself, but man, I just don't know if they have the sustain if a fight does break out there. Down middle is going to be Undying and Skywrath Mage just kind of grouping up, push and do what they can, keep all the creeps on the other side of the river, basically. The Dire are not having the easiest game at this point in terms of XP. Holy cow, a lot's changed since the last time I checked on that graph, my goodness. Looks like bombs are popping all over the place as Sand King does set a good number of them off as he walks up. They do have a gem on the Pugna, once again. He's been a very good holder for this, as he has only lost it once in the 20 minutes or so that he's had it. But yeah, in terms of XP, over probably about 15,000 experience in favor of the Radiant. They're just having an easier fight. Sand King channeling up his ult, blinking in, is going to be combining with that Warlock stun to do a ton of damage. Juggernaut getting the kill on that, as he's going to be trying to chase down this Undying, and we'll get the kill on that. So this guy is hitting like a truck. Man, I don't know how they stop this Juggernaut. They have to have, you know, a Hex or some sort of lockdown. I think the last time I saw him go down was the Sprout by the Nature's Prophet, but they can't keep counting on that every time, because if he has Omni Slash up, he can just zip right out of the Sprout. Techies once again trying to do what he can, but he's going to be taking some damage from this Pugna. Will blow himself up to avoid the shame of giving himself up to a Pugna solo kill, I guess. Sprout once again going on to the Juggernaut. Nature's Prophet trying this cheeky move again, but there are just too many Radiant support heroes there to help him out. He is going to back off a little bit. Has a completed Desolator at this moment, so that's going to do a lot for him, as he is able to take down the armor of the Juggernaut a little bit at 16. What a crazy amount of armor for that guy, my goodness. He's just going to be trying to farm up what creeps he can. Down bottom, it looks like Wraith King has been sent back to try to clear out this wave that is pushed back way onto their side of the river. It did take down their tier 2. Unsure how long ago that went down. I've had a lot more to focus on up in this lane, as Techies is going to be getting off a kill on the Warlock. Warlock is obviously very upset about that, as he makes it known in all chat. But yeah, I think this Techies has just been trying so hard, and I'm glad he's getting rewarded for his efforts. I don't know if this guy's ever had his bombs on cooldown. And it looks like Nature's Prophet is going to be trying to go on this Pugna. Gem is down. Pugna loses it for the second time, and it looks like Sand King's not going to be there to bail him out at this point. Nature's Prophet taking a lot of damage from that, as he Nature's calls himself under the Pugna ward. But Skywrath Mage does have a gem, so maybe that's how he's going to make himself real useful for his team. Man, if I were the Radiant, I'd start to be a little bit more scared of this Nature's Prophet. He's been doing a lot of damage, and he's been doing a lot of work around the map. Yeah, the Juggernaut's scary for one-on-one combat, but you really can't leave this Nature's Prophet alone. I don't know where he's going to go on the map. He could TP in anywhere and just get a lot of lanes down. And it looks like Dire here is already able to push down to the Radiant side of the map, and Radiant aren't really caring about that. Their Warlock's down, their Pugnus down. I mean, they don't think they can take a really convincing teamfight at this point. Abyssal Blade is complete for the Juggernaut, so that's just a whole big chunk of damage. This kid's hitting for about 300 a pop without a crit, so you really don't want to be walking into that guy without a whole lot of armor or HP, which, man, the Dire just don't have. Completed mech on the Undying, but still nothing coming out of that Perseverance. I don't know if he's going Battle Fury, Refresher. I don't know how Undying builds usually, but it just seems like he should have a little bit more item progression this far in the game, as he is doing pretty well for himself. He does have 2 kills to his name. Techies is going to be mining up the Roche Pit once again. The Radiant team do not have a gem anymore, so good luck on them stopping that Roche initiation. And Sand King does, I mean, he has his Blink, he has his Ags, he has his Arcanes, but nothing he hasn't had for a really long time. He does have 2,100 gold in the bank, so it looks like he could be trying to save for buyback, which he will have over 800 surplus, so he definitely needs to think about what he's building next. Juggernaut's going to buy himself a new gem, and I think that's a good plan. The gem was so useful for this Radiant team early on. Pugna got so much use out of it, and yeah, he lost it, but I don't think it's that much of a money sacrifice to buy himself another one, and the Radiant team have really put it to use. It's not like it was sitting in base or anything like that. Warlock does now have a double Perseverance. What's that going to build into? It looks like maybe a Lotus Orb? I'm not quite sure, but probably Refresher and Lotus Orb or something along those lines. Making sure he has as many golems up in the fight as possible. He is pushed out really far on his own right here without a lot of vision. I haven't noticed a whole lot of wards in this game. I'm seeing these Radiant wards right over on these areas so far over here, but there's really no aggressive Radiant wards, so I don't know if the Radiant team should be feeling as safe as they are playing right now. Refresh Orb now completed for the Warlock, so he's going to have 2 golems, twice the fun, with those Aghanims, so just keeping the fights under control, just adding a lot more meat to the fights, if you will. Juggernaut now with 2k gold in the bank, so he definitely has his he does not quite have his buyback yet, but he will soon after another creep wave or so. But Nature's Prophet pushing in this bottom lane, making that Mjolnir work for him. And yeah, I mean, this Wraith King, he's tanky. He has a MKB, he's doing a lot of damage, but so is this Nature's Prophet. Man, he silences him up, and he's hitting him down. He's going to get him down in his first life. Can he get him down again? Looks like Nature's Prophet will just blink away, trying to run from that Reincarnate, but he's not going anywhere. He's just on a treadmill to nowhere, but now he has that movement speed back. He's going to be probably TPing somewhere else on the map. Yep, and there he goes. He will be using Nature's Call once again, blinking back into the trees. I'm not quite sure what his plan is for this. And yes, he's going to be TPing top lane, trying to help out this Warlock with another Refresher Orb up. He does use his Refresher Orb to try to get more golems up, but he will go down. Nature's Prophet is now running for his life as he TP'd into maybe a questionable fight. He's running as far as he can, but yeah, I mean, he helped out as much as he could. I don't know if he needed, that Dire team needed that help for the Warlock. I think he could have, Nature's Prophet could have stayed and been a little bit more useful bottom lane, keeping that pressure on, as, you know, the creeps are now up at the river, so that last push he did was a little bit in vain. Looks like Undying just taking some casual harass from the golems. Really no more item progression since the last time we saw him. Is he starting to fall off, or is he just having a pretty rocky late game? I'm not quite sure. In terms of XP per minute, once again, this Nature's Prophet sitting at the top of the chart. Pride should definitely have some pride in the way he's been playing this game. It hasn't been the easiest start or the best lineup, but definitely making use of the map awareness that he has. In terms of XP graph, it keeps going up. For the Radiant, it's right back up to 15,000 experience in favor of the Radiant, which did swoop down a little bit after that last fight, but man, I think the Radiant are still definitely in control of the game. Net worth is way in the Radiant's favor. Only about 4,000 gold experience, but 4,000 gold advantage, But that's still a big item. If you think of 4,000 gold, just put it on one hero. That's pretty much an item scepter. So just items that the Radiant has that Dire can't afford yet. And that's going to make a big difference going into these next fights. Sniper does pick up a Claymore, so I'm not quite sure what he's going to be trying to build with that. Perhaps a Shadow Blade, but seems like, yeah, he is going to be picking up the Shadow Amulet. So definitely Shadow Blade for that guy. Is he going to be building it into a Silver Edge? I don't know if that's the smartest choice, but everyone loves that item in the new patch, so might just be for the fun of it. Looks like Radiant team are gearing up to go. Are they going to be rotating into the Roche Pit or rotating up? They do all get stuck by the stasis trap. So, I mean, Dire knows where they are. Are they going to continue this roam? It looks like they will be. Monkey King Bar, as well as the Sacred Relic on the Wraith King. So that guy, man, he's hitting hard. He's hitting harder than the Juggernaut. Is he? I can't click on the Juggernaut. There we go. Looks like Juggernaut is... Yeah, the Wraith King's hitting harder than the Juggernaut at this point. I think Juggernaut's hitting faster, which is going to make a difference. But Wraith King, boy, has he come online since we saw him in the jungle struggling for items. And it looks like high ground is going to be... No, it's not going to be broken at this point, as the Wraith King is going to be healed up by the Warlock, but he's going to take a concussive shot to the face, as well as be Ancient sealed up. He does have his ult if he needs it. Juggernaut is going to be ulting up, and he does pick up the Undying. Really nice Omni Slash, as he does take down just the Undying, no other really creeps in the way, so he's able to put all those slashes on one guy and get down a full health Undying, which is no small feat. Techie's remote mines are going to be blowing up this Juggernaut as much as he can, but that healing ward putting in a lot of work, as well as just the Juggernaut's base lifesteal. Skywrath Mage is so slow, he's going to be standing in the Warlock. Big puddle of mud right there. Sand King is going to be going in, does Sandstorm himself up. He does not have his ult up, and he might be wanting to get out of here really bad. His blink is up whenever he needs it. So it looks like Radiant are just really... They're winning this game, but on the flip side, Nature's Prophet takes down his own lane of Rax. I almost missed that, as he does now have a Daedalus. That guy is hitting like a monster, so is this just going to be an all-out fight? And it looks like Techie's is committing suicide to these 3 golems sitting up there. Man, what a fight. This is going to be a base race, it looks like, and it looks like Nature's Prophet is forced back a little bit as Sand King is coming into Sandstorm and try to take these creeps back, but they are now at the tier 4s. These Dire creeps are doing a lot. Pride TPing in, and he's going to get a double kill. He does pick up the Juggernaut as well as the Pugna. This guy's a monster. It looks like he's going to be trying to 1v1 this Wraith King. He will get him down the first time, but it looks like Warlock is going to pick off the Nature's Prophet that's been doing such a big amount of damage for the Dire team. He's the only reason they're really still in this game. He picks off a lane of barracks and then comes in and gets a double kill. That guy's insane. Sniper able to pick off the Wraith King on the back lines of this fight. And it looks like Sniper's just going to keep farming up. Pride's back, and he's angry. He's ready to get some revenge. Is he going to be able to TP in and put his little trees all over the racks? I don't know, but the Dire team lost 2 lanes of racks, which is a big loss in itself, but in no way is that a complete net loss, as Pride is able to get them a whole big lane all to themselves. He is going to be blinking in, trying to get the Sand King out of position, but there will be a double blink from the Sand King as he's able to get away, senses something that is not quite right. He is going to be picking up a Mystic Staff, so is he going to go Octarine Core? Is he going to go Hex? Either way, it's just going to help him out a lot with his base intelligence. Double damage rune sitting unclaimed at the Roche. No Roche attempts in this 51-minute game. I'm a little disappointed, honestly, because Juggernaut with an Aegis is such a bitch to fight against, honestly. I think it would have been a pretty smart move for the Radiant to move into the pit a little earlier. Dire team are feeling lucky as they are going to be pressuring this mid lane Rax. Are they going to be able to crack high ground here? It looks like Juggernaut is going to buy back, and I think that buyback alone is enough to really zone out the Dire team. He can still melt all of them pretty easily. Invisibility rune now replaces the double damage rune in front of the Roche pit. I think it'd be a mistake for no one to Roche this game. It's such a valuable piece of every team fight. You know, Wraith King ult has showed itself again and again how valuable it can be. Yeah, he gets picked off once, but he comes back and he does it again. He's going to do a lot more damage than he could with just 1 life, so why not get 2 lives on one of their heroes? Techies, man, give this guy a medal for just trying so hard. I think, man, that remote mine hasn't been off cooldown the whole game. He does now have a soul booster for himself, so probably going Bloodstone, although could build into Octarine Core if he feels like it. Pride does pick himself up a kill on the Juggernaut. 1v1, this Pride is now taking down the main carry of the Radiant team. This guy is out of control. I think Radiant kind of dropped him off of their minds as they were trying to get that high ground push, but he's definitely back in this game and able to do a lot of damage. I don't think they should count him out or consider themselves safe at all. Looks like Sniper doing what he can. Trying to get this farm up. He does not have a Reaver, so not quite sure what he's going there. A Heart? I don't know. That'd be a bad choice, in my opinion. I don't think he needs... I think he needs damage more than anything else. The tank is nice from that Reaver, but there's just so much more value he can offer his team if he had a lot of right-click. Nature's Prophet, he does have 3,400 gold surplus on top of buyback, which his buyback is on cooldown. I'm not quite sure who else's is. But yeah, it looks like there's not a lot of buybacks in the game just because everyone's been buying out or buying back into the game. Techies and Sand King are the only ones with buyback at this point, and neither one of them are really, really key team fight heroes, especially if Sand King already drops his ult. And it looks like Wraith King's going to be running in, is going to get himself silenced up, and Skywrath Mage is going to go down to a Pugna life drain, which, no surprise there, 54 minutes from the game. I'm surprised Skywrath hasn't been just constantly dead for the last 20 minutes, honestly. And it looks like a tower being hit down by the Sniper is going to take the last out on that, but props to the Nature's Prophet for helping him rat that out. Techies is now godlike as he is going to keep picking up heroes on the map. It's kind of hard to find those kills because once they walk over the mines, they're out of there. Looks like Golems are going to do the best they can to try and hit this Undying, but not much they can do there. And it looks like Nature's Prophet is going to be running along with the Sniper. They're both about half health. Not a whole lot they can do. Nature's Call to get more minions out. And yeah, he's just going to be running back, going to be TPing home, get himself all healthy, and get back in with more rat. That guy has absolutely been a rat lord. This game has lived up to his expectation. Those racks going down as the as the Radiant team broke high ground was super, super exciting. Do the Radiant have a gem? I haven't checked in a while. I don't think Pugna does, which he was their main keeper of it. Nope, no gem for the Pugna, and I think that's definitely cost them. As you know, the Techies is now godlike. Those vision they had on the wards is now gone. Octarine Core for the Techies, so making sure he gets healed up for those kills that he's getting. But I feel like a Bloodstone would have been more useful. I know Octarine Core is the new item, it's fun, it's big, but just a Bloodstone might offer that much more utility to the Techies, that much bigger of a mana pool, that much more sustain. Radiant team are getting ready to push up this top lane, and it looks like, is someone going to be taking a Roche Sniper? Yay, you're finally taking my advice and hitting that little beast in the pit. I don't know how fast it's going to be taking him down, but he's hitting pretty hard, and he does have lifesteal to keep himself healthy. So first Roche of the game might be coming out any moment now to the Dire team, and it looks like Sniper will be taking it as he does have a free slot in his inventory for it. Middle lane, Skywrath Mage is going to be doing what he can. He does still have that Mystic Staff without much item progression on top of it, so he's still figuring out what he's going to do. Man, those items are sad. That guy's definitely fallen off. It looks like Radiant team are getting ready to push. Looks like they might want to end before they figure out that the Nature's Prophet can just go and pick off another lane of racks. So, yeah, I don't know. Nature's Prophet ratting this mid tower. Warlock trying to zip in and stop him there. He does have a refresher with some golems up in about 15 seconds. Sniper does grab that Invis rune on top of that Aegis of the Immortal. So he's running fast and running with 2 lives. Pugna Netherward comes up, so if any Dire heroes want to start spamming spells, such as the Techies, they're going to pay for it. And high ground is broken once again by the Dire, or by the Radiant, sorry, but look, by the Dire, Pride is doing what he can. He is bringing his friends down into this mid lane. Are they going to get mid racks? That's so important for the Dire team right here to compete against these megas on terms of the Dire. And it looks like the Dire team are going to get this lane of racks. Are they going to try to push to end right here? It looks like it's going to be an all-out base race as Techies is doing what he can to solo defend this base. Wraith King is coming, Sniper's coming back, but will be brought down once again by the Wraith King as that guy's critting like a maniac. Techies is now lone to defend his base. Looks like Sniper's going to buy back and try to do what he can, but it looks like mid lane, the Dire team are doing it. They've got down the towers. They're hitting the Ancient. My goodness, Pugna's going to be TPing back. Skywrath is doing what he can to stop it. Really great ult coming down from the Skywrath Mage. Undying in ult form, he's going to be trying to hit this Sand King as much as possible, but this Prophet absolutely proved his worth. He was able to get down that Ancient in the end. It came down to a base race. Oh my god. That was one exciting game of Dota. I honestly thought that the Radiant were just going to get too big by the end of that game, and too beefy for the Dire team to stand up against them. I mean, the Skywrath Mage did fall off a little bit. Sniper didn't get quite as massive as he could have gotten, but man, that Nature's Prophet absolutely won them the game. That guy got them Elena racks when they thought all was lost up top at their base, and then, in the end, it just took 3 Dire Heroes to push down, kind of ignore what's going on in their base, and Nature's Prophet just has a faster push with that Desolator and that Mjolnir than the Radiant did. So, really well played to everyone on both teams. I didn't see any plays that were, super, super questionable. So, yeah, that was one of the most exciting games of Dota that I've gotten to cast so far, and I really, really appreciate you submitting that to the Dota 2 Cast It subreddit. If you enjoyed my casts, I'm available for hire on dotacasters.com, which is a super cool opportunity. I'll cast your games, whether they're replays or live. So leave any feedback you have, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!